Hey guys, how you doing? These are my impressions for Battlefield 5. Now, you can watch the entire video, but in summary, it's just an okay game for me. As someone who really wasn't into Battlefield 1, BF5 is pretty reminiscent of Battlefield 1, so if you like that type of game, and you like the new developments for Battlefield, then this might be for you. But for everyone else who was hoping for Bad Company 3 and, that kind of game, not so much. So I'm going to break down the good and the bad with BF5, according to me. Let's get started. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm going to talk about Battlefield 5 today, and as you guys know, I've got some very vehement opinions on the Battlefield franchise. As a Battlefield veteran, I know what I like in a Battlefield game, and that is a Battlefield game in the style of Battlefield Bad Company 2, or Battlefield 3 or 4. Battlefield 1, as you guys know from watching my videos, is a game that I did not enjoy. The gunplay just felt off and super arcadey. The movement, again, felt really arcadey. You couldn't animation cancel your gas mask. The vaulting just felt restrictive. The weapon progression was just really bad, and overall, the game just didn't have a good feel to it. I think having a good feel to a first-person shooter is the most important thing it could possibly have. How good does a game feel when you're playing it? And in my opinion, Battlefield has gone down the shitter since Battlefield 4, namely Battlefield Hardline, and then of course Battlefield 1, two games that I did not enjoy because, well, it just did not feel like a great Battlefield experience. And now we have Battlefield 5, which I was hoping was going to be a return to the classic feel of a Battlefield game in the sense of maybe Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, but unfortunately Battlefield 5 feels very, very reminiscent of Battlefield 1. Take it or leave it. But the good news is it does feel much better than Battlefield 1. The guns feel fantastic. The sound assets are phenomenal as always. The game looks absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. There's no denying that. It looks like a premium AAA game. Before I crack into the game analysis though, let me talk about the good stuff of Battlefield 5 for you people out there who are wanting Battlefield 5 to succeed, and of course that would be including myself. And I would say the two biggest accomplishments with this game are the sound design and the visual design. And yeah, you could pretty much say that about any Battlefield game. They're always the leaders of visual and audio technology, DICE. Shooting people down feels great, sliding feels good. It looks great. The snow comes down and just covers your screen, and beautiful snowflakes. The Aurora Borealis or whatever in the background of the night map looks fantastic. Yeah, it just looks fantastic. But that will come at a cost. Of course, this game is a beast to run, and they've got a lot of optimization to do before the game comes out, because currently it is not very good. On a fully souped up GTX 1080 Ti, I was only getting about 50 frames per second on Ultra, and that's not very good considering I have a 165 Hz monitor. And this was a very prominent item that was being discussed in the chat box: optimization and performance. We have the usual suspects here. We got crashing, we got stuttering, we got problems resurrecting teammates and not being able to get up, having to redeploy because the game just simply crashed out. Yeah, it's all there. But of course, this is stuff that could be ironed out. The bad news is, if it doesn't get ironed out, like let's say Battlefield 4, which was an absolute travesty upon launch, the game is going to be in a pretty nasty state. Right now it's playable, but is it optimized to where it should be? Of course not, and it really shouldn't be because the game is a few months from being released. But it's worth noting this right now because it has to be fixed. It's just not in a great working order right now. The other problem I had from the visual and the performance-related spectrum was motion sickness, and this is the first time in a Battlefield game where I've experienced sick motion fatigue symptoms. After my play session, I had a pretty nasty headache, and during the play session, I was feeling very disoriented and dizzy, and I'm not sure if this is attributed to the FOV, which seems out of place and a little bit too restricted even if you crank it up to the entire maximum. Or maybe because the game is super fast, or maybe because the game has so many particle effects with the snow, or maybe, and this is kind of what I'm thinking, the movement system is too janky. Yes, currently right now, if you play Battlefield 5, there is so much camera movement and sway, and it just grabs you from all sorts of angles, depending on if you're being resurrected, if you fall down, if you slide, if you vault. It just seems like It's just too much fast-paced right now. The goal of this game, as said by the developers at E3, was to make a more fluid and streamlined movement system that was based off of the movement system from Battlefield 1, which was not good. They want to make sure that everything you do in this game has an animation, and this is kind of leading to the problem for motion sickness for me. The game spins you around quite a bit, and the camera just flies back and forth between multiple angles depending on what animation you're going through. And for me, this ended up resulting in a pretty nasty case of motion sickness, and I don't know, honestly, if I can even play this game anymore in its current state. There was a few other people in the chat that I did talk to that were feeling similar symptoms, but overall I don't know if this is representative of the entire population, so don't take this any farther than this video. But for me, motion sickness was certainly a problem, and that's not a good thing for a first-person shooter, especially one that you can kind of marathon for many, many hours at a time. So there's your warning. This game may cause motion sickness if you're anything like me. The other problem I had with the alpha was the general theme at which this game takes place, and this is very subjective, so if you have a different opinion, let me know down below in the comment section. For me, I was hoping for Battlefield Bad Company 3. I'll just be completely honest. I wanted a sequel to Battlefield Bad Company 2 or a game along the lines of Battlefield 4, a modern military shooter or something set in maybe the future. I simply did not want another classic or historical Battlefield game because, well, we just had one, and it's nice to have a relief from a theme or a setting, especially if the two games are very similar in feel and in presentation and in gameplay, because they most certainly are. The game feels like Battlefield 1, it looks like Battlefield 1, and it plays pretty much like Battlefield 1, so if you like Battlefield 1, you're in business here. But for everyone else who really did not, then I don't know if you're gonna like this game, because it does most certainly feel, look, and play like what we just had a few years ago. And for a lot of people, that game was not up to snuff, especially when you go back to Battlefield 4 right now and you experience how great that game was. It's just not the same. I also didn't like the implementation of fortifications. You know, it's very subjective as well. It just felt very gimmicky to me. Kind of like Fortnite's building mechanic. I know a lot of people really love that about the game. I myself do not. I'd rather have the focus to be on the shooting. But in Battlefield 5, you can put up, you know, walls and stuff with fortifications, and it just doesn't feel good to me. As an offensive run and gun type of player who really likes to push objectives and play rush mode, the fortifications in Battlefield 5, I fear anyway, are gonna kind of push the game towards a more defensive style game, a more turtle style game, and I don't like that when I'm not able to kind of run around the map freely, diving and ducking from cover, because there is the kind of threat of machine gun emplacement, walls that I can't shoot through, places that are blocked off because of, well, fortifications. In the games that I played, fortifications were used to kind of funnel choke points in certain areas of the map, and many players would cluster in those little tiny spots behind those walls and emplacements. And for someone who's on the attack mode, it kind of feels hopeless at times when you're just charging into a wall of 20 people who are crowding behind fortifications and just gunning you down. For me, it messes with the flow of a Battlefield game, and that flow has always been running and gunning, getting objectives, pushing players out of specific areas of the map, and fortifications kind of prevent you from doing that in a sense. But like I said, this is very subjective, and many people will love this new building mechanic, although it is very restrictive as well, so we'll have to see what players think as the game evolves down the road. But with all that out of the way, there are some great elements here that make the Battlefield 1 template, which is how I consider this game to be laid out in, even better. So Grand Operations is a little bit better, feels more cinematic, more epic, has a little bit of a story element to it. Nice addition. The way that health regeneration works is much, much improved. It makes you feel accountable to your health, finally. And the squad revival system is a nice feature as well, so anyone can revive, and medics get to revive a little bit quicker, so it kind of makes you stay with your group a little bit better, hence squad-based gameplay. So in those regards, I think that they have added some much needed cohesion to the Battlefield 1 template. So if you like that game, you'll probably like this game as well. But like I said, it depends which style of Battlefield game you like. So let me know down in the comment section what you like, what you don't like, if this game looks good to you, and why. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think down below. Have a great day, and we'll see you in our next video. Peace, love, and happiness until then.